Holling, I can't stand it anymore. You gotta take me.
Take you where?
Upstairs, here, in the bar, anywhere. I don't care. Just take me.
Shelley, pull yourself together. I can't think about sex with a bar full of registered voters.
I'm dying, babe.
Shelley, this is the political fight of my life. There is no way that I can think about Hanky-Panky at this point in time. Oh, hello, Ruth Ann. How about a free beer? It's on the house.
No more, Holling. There's been a complaint.
A complaint? By who?
Me? You can't give away free beer.
Oh, hang on.
Look at the charter, Holling. Of course, the word of law doesn't mean much to a man who's evaded taxes for 32 years.
Now, just slow down a minute, Edna. Nobody is evading anything. It was just a misunderstanding between me and the IRS is all. Which, by the way, will be paid in full. Naturally, I respect the law like everybody else.
So here you see an example of, some people going in politics because the power it gives them is, it also seems to attract women who are attracted to power. Now, it's not pronounced howling, it's hauling. Sorry, I mispronounced it in a different vlog. That's already his spouse, and then he says he wants to focus on the voters, but he's not focusing on issues there. He's focusing on the voters. There's ego, and ego gets triggered even more when women approach people that already have or that are going to increase their power base. Now, in this particular segment, you can see how money, either where one candidate has more than another, or accepts gifts in the concept of democracy, monetary money or monetary support of others. It's starting to not be democracy anymore, don't you guys think? Like I mentioned this in another lesson in democracy, is when to campaign you raise large amounts of money, and whether that person votes win the election or not is what happens to that money later. Well, you can measure it as not being given back to the people in projects that they need, right? It's not reinvested, or there could even be that the candidate that loses has received so much money that one way they can, let's say, take that opponent down if the voters make a mistake, because they often do, because there's a lot of ignorance in the population of the United States and in Canada, and pretty much all of the world is increasing now the ignorance, right? The lack of the ability to use the higher functions of our brains. So of course democracy is dead in this way. But let's say you're trying to revive accountability in it, and it's hard to get away from the people that invest large amounts of money in certain candidates, is the ones that lose. And then it would be matched by the people that win. They'll say, okay, I'm making a promise to give all the money I lost that I received, that's left, and I'm going to ask you to devote that into a project of the causes that I was fighting for the people. And then that winner would match it, especially if that's somebody that received even more money and therefore was able to campaign in a way that was more influential. Because, if it really serves the people, then of course that'd be a win-win scenario. Then you could prove the winner and the loser are actually, real public servants.
Fellow citizens, we cannot escape history. The fiery trial through which we pass will light us down in honor or dishonor to the last generation. Abe Lincoln, ladies and gentlemen. But the sentiment goes ditto for your K-Bear correspondent. Democracy is not a spectator sport. That means your presence is going to be required tonight at the candidates' debate. Be worthy of your heritage. It's like Justice Holmes said. It is required that a man shall share in the passion and action of his time at peril of being judged not to have lived. Enough said. Debate 7:30, be there.
We have heard opening statements from both candidates.
Now, do you know that when people vote once every 4 years, and let's say whether their candidate of choice won or not, that it is proven way before 4 years that the person is incompetent or was self-serving or spends more time being off than on duty. And then are those people that vote once every 4 years that think they are active participants in democracy, are they actually saying we need another vote? Now, of course, during this time of Anthropocene, changing leaders too often is unpatriotic. It's dangerous. It's better to demand from them to insist they form collaborations with the opposition parties, is to be active participants. It would be like every week or two to say, hey, we've been following you and we've been asking you to be more transparent about how you're making choices and how you're spending your time on the job. That would be an active participant of democracy would say this. They wouldn't say, we want you out, we want you in jail, or what. Like it's too late for that with the Anthropocene, right? So even if it's not the best candidate that wins, active participation in democracy at this time would be continuing to rally to insist more transparency, more collaborations. And again, this would often show that the people are individually self-serving in what they're petitioning on their signs, let's say, or that they are, patriotic or nation-centered, which again, during the Anthropocene it's not going to work unless they're saying we want to be self-sufficient and we're willing to do the work as a nation to compensate for what we're going to lose in collaborations that are toxic, that benefit only the elites. Like, for example, if there isn't enough work, then don't import products that you could work to create in your own nation. So again, that would be active participation in the self-management of your own nations. Are you able to do this? Are you able to not sit on a couch and talk about things you really don't know that much about, when you could be active participants on a weekly or even daily basis? Debates could happen in small communities all the time, and then it's decided how that community, based on informed debate, not just arguing because I don't believe most of us anymore have the ability for fair debates without violence or aggression or closed-mindedness or assumptions kicking in. I see very few people with actually the ability, even in leadership roles, to be adequate, not excellent, but adequate listeners.
Chris.
Well, I just want to applaud y'all for plunging headfirst into the great river of democracy. I mean, our election is just a small tributary, a singular thread in the greater fabric linked by tradition, love, and honor to the swift, clear, bracing waters from which our traditions are founded. But I'm just saying, let's take a little time out here to slap ourselves on the back, give a kiss on the cheek, a hail and hearty fare thee well to all our fine, noble Cicelyian citizens. Ruth Ann, candidates, you're happening.
Thank you, Chris. Did you have a question?
Well, actually, Edna, what I had in mind were some lines from Basho. On a withered branch, a crow has alighted. Nightfall in autumn.
Holland, you have 60 seconds to respond to that.
For the life of me, Chris, I haven't a clue what you're talking about.
Hold it! There's something wrong here. Something terribly, terribly wrong. It's getting away from us.
Maurice, do you have a question?
I have to go now.
If my stop sign...
So, looking in the eye of Holling, who admitted he didn't know what the other one was talking about, that's the kind of transparent accountability and honesty and ethics that you don't see in politics. Maurice stopping to say what he wants to say when he feels like this is extremely rare. So he's still trying to figure out what's happening and what's causing him to feel like this, and he figures it out a little bit later.
Chris,
Rejoice with me, for I have found my sheep which was lost.
Oh, I wish I could give you a ballad.
I can only gaze upon the promised land, Ruth Ann, never enter. Anyway, I was wondering if I could hang out a while and catch the vibes of democracy doing its thing.
Feel free to graze, and then come sit by me.
Okay.
Ay, ay.
What is that all about?
Luke, chapter 15. For this my son was dead, and he is alive again. He was lost, and he is found. The return of the prodigal voter.
I'm wasted, people. I'm drained. A good drain, though, you know, like a wedding that's boogied on till the early morning light. Woo! Well, I guess it's time for the official results, huh? In studio guest, special courier Ed Chigliak, ladies and gentlemen. Moment with.
Yeah, well, I'm not gonna spoil this. I already told you nobody dies in this episode, but I'm not gonna tell you who wins. I am gonna say that it was a very, very close call, and I would let you know that based on just looking in the eye, that I would have voted, well, for who didn't win. Okay, but that's again a point I made in the past. You know, like Canadians vote almost like they think, okay, that's the hockey team that's going to win, or political party or candidate, and I'm going to vote there. And again, this is, you know, this is psychiatric phenomenons I'm talking about, people here. Now, Chris never wears a tie, so he's very surprised. Everybody's very surprised that he's wearing a tie. And again, he said he found his sheep, and people with ties, whether they're at the highest level, they're not shepherds. They're really sheep. And sadly, you know, we lost a little bit of secular context when Ruth Ann, I don't know why he said, Ruth Ann, when she quoted a writer or writers. Now, Chris, when he quotes, he says which writer it's from. But Ruth Ann quoted the Bible, and there are people primate writers to this, and yet they are sheep that don't even know they're sheep, even though they're kind of at a high level if they're writing the Bible or rewriting the Bible, and yet they don't get the respect of their work to actually be quoted as who they are. You know, it's not God that said those things that you can tell has the limited wisdom of the people primates, right?